If your first instinct is to say yes to every project, every inquiry, every client, especially because the money's good, this episode is your permission to stop doing that. Because not everything that pays is worth the cost. Let's talk about how to say no without the guilt and why it might be the best move for your business. Back in Business is the unfiltered podcast for service providers, founders, and women in business who are done pretending it's all smooth sailing. This is the real, slightly chaotic, often hilarious side of business, the part you don't see, but absolutely need to hear. Join me, Kim Zojva, business operations consultant and multiple business owner, as I share honest conversations from my own journey and fellow businesswomen. We go behind the brand to talk about the moments that shape our businesses, big wins, fuck-ups, mindset shifts, strategy, and everything in between. This is Business Unfiltered, and you're not doing it alone. This is something that took me years to learn, and honestly, I still struggle sometimes with it. Saying no, especially when you're trying to grow or pay your bills and build your business, feels counterintuitive. Because when a potential client pops into your inbox, the first instinct is don't turn down money. Something is better than nothing. What if this is the only client that comes in this month? And I get it, the fear is real. But here's the thing I had to learn the hard way. Not every client is meant for you. And the ones who aren't, they cost more money in the long run than what they actually pay you. I've worked with so many clients who weren't aligned to me. Different energy, different values, totally different expectations. And every time I stuck it out, I ended up stressed, resentful, and anxious and completely drained. And it's one of the things that led to my burnout last year, which I spoke about in an earlier episode. There's one client in particular that always stands out, and I worked with her for years. And I knew for most of that time, literally from a few weeks in, that it just wasn't working. And I started to hate the work I was doing, and I would always leave her work to the very end of the day, and I'd end up rushing it and dreading it, and it would ruin my day every day. And while she was a nice person, her business skills were not great, and the work was draining. The communication was really shit. She constantly crossed boundaries or expected more than what we had originally agreed on. She'd disappear for weeks and weeks at a time and then bounce back in, shake stuff up, and just make a complete mess of all the work myself and the team had done, and then she'd leave again. It was just an absolute nightmare. And yet, I stayed. Why? Because it was consistent income. She was paying me over $2,000 a month, and because I didn't want to let her down, and because I didn't know how to say no. But when I finally ended that working relationship, the relief was instant. Like the stress just lifted, and I had room for better clients, better projects, and it helped me create much better boundaries. And that experience taught me something huge. It's not just okay to say no, it's absolutely essential in your business that you learn how to say no. You don't build an expert portfolio by saying yes to everything. You don't attract aligned clients by diluting your energy on misaligned ones. And you don't create a sustainable business by taking on projects that make you miserable daily. Now, that doesn't mean you should go and ghost people or slam the door in their face, because you can still turn those clients you don't work with into a strategy to get more clients. It means you respectfully say no and you helpfully redirect. Here's how I do it. If a potential client reaches out and I know it's not a good fit, either they're not aligned or I don't have the capacity, or it's just not my vibe, I'll say something like, thank you so much for reaching out. I've had a look over your lead form or the questionnaire, whatever it is that they're filling at the time, and I don't think I'm the right fit for this role. But I would love to help you find someone who is. Now, I've listed a few trusted service providers below who might be exactly what you're looking for. Or if it's already a client that I'm already working with and they pitch a random side project that's not within my scope, or I just don't want to take it on, like, because sometimes we just don't want to do it, right? I'll say something like, this project sounds super exciting, but it's a bit outside of what I currently offer, or it's not within the scope, or I don't have capacity to take it on right now. That said, I know someone who could bring a lot of value to this. Would you like me to introduce them? And it's clear, it's kind, and it's boundaried. If that's even a word, boundaried. And more often than not, they will respect you for it, because you've not just demonstrated that you're self-aware, professional, and connected, and you're not saying no and walking away. You're helping them find a solution, and that's leadership. I call these people who I refer my referral buddies. These are my trusted people I can pass opportunities to. And here's the best part, it always comes back around. I've had people I didn't work with refer me to others. I've had referral buddies pass me clients I would never have found myself. And I've done the same for them as well. Because I wasn't burning the bridges from the get-go, I was building a network, let's say. So saying no doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you a little bit more strategic. It shows that you know your value. And if someone doesn't like that, they were never the right client or contact to begin with. If you've been saying yes to too much, or you feel like drowning in work that doesn't light you up, it's time to step back and get clear. Like, what do you actually want to offer? What kind of people do you want to work with? What's your capacity right now? And if it's not yes, 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 then it's a kind, respectful, intentional no. If this is something you want more support with, it could be anything, boundaries, offers, positioning, client communication, then the club is exactly where you need to be. We talk about stuff like this all the time with my amazing, beautiful other service provided females that are inside the club. And it's totally honest and safe space. And it's literally a price of a coffee per month. You can also subscribe to my newsletter for all the tools and tips and behind the scenes that I don't always share on this podcast. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for being here. And next time you feel like saying no, say it kindly, clearly, and confidently, and watch what happens. And I will see you next week.